Hello, how are you today? Hope everyone's doing awesome. I'm here today with Kaitlyn Lyders, and I'm
Hello.
Sharon. I'm Sharon. I'm with About My Sister's Biz, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. So, of course, you already know that because you're watching my feed. So, if you're watching live, I want you to do hashtag live, and replay is hashtag replay. You know the drill. And I also want you to say where you're calling from or where you're coming in from. Like I'm in Dahlonega, the North Georgia mountains. And what about you, Caitlin? Where are you at?
I'm in north central Montana.
Okay. So is that a small area?
Very small, very rural.
Yeah. Same for us. We're a pretty small area too. So I want you to stop and think for a moment. Do you consider just starting over with a new career? Is there a dream inside of you to be a VA? If so, this is the call that you need to be listening to. Caitlin lives in an area, like she said, that's very rural, and she doesn't really have many choices for careers. And so, some of the choices that she has are to farm, rent, teach, or to nurse. And she chose to teach because she was the closest to that degree at the time. So over time, it became clear to her, though, that she wanted to excel and reach her full potential, she would have to go out of the teaching profession. And so it was at the back of her mind at all times. But when the school shut down this March because of COVID, she took the opportunity to change career courses. While she was virtually teaching, she was also taking virtual assistant course. She finished that around May, lined up some clients, quit teaching in July, and she is not looking back. So, do you want to expand on that a little bit, Caitlin? Then we'll go into some questions.
Yeah, so it was just kind of a fortuitous moment and a turning point with the school shutting down that it had already been on the back of my mind that I needed to change paths. And this just happened to be something that was placed in my vision about October of last year. And so it just kind of clicked right in and everything worked out great.
Yeah, so that was perfect timing, how it just kind of all happened, right?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say that actually. A lot of people this year specifically, because of the events that have happened that we can't control, they've decided to completely change different things about their lives. And a lot of times that's their career choice.
Hmm.
So that's good that everything fell into place so you were able to do that.
Yeah. Very fortunate.
So is that ultimately the reason that you decided to go from the teaching in person over into the virtual and not just go back into the teaching in person? It's because it's become so easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, it was really easy to do. But I feel the main driving point was just that I wasn't comfortable and happy with how education has been going. And I didn't want to keep fighting for it. And I also didn't think that if my heart wasn't in it, if that was fair for the students, my coworkers, or even my family. So it just kind of became the driving factor was I wasn't in it anymore. My heart wasn't in it. And if everyone's going virtual, I might as well do something that I could be doing virtually.
I'm actually hearing that a lot. I have interviewed a couple of other teachers recently, and they both made the same comment that it's so hard to follow the teacher plan,
Hmm.
um, not agreeing with exactly what they're having to teach, but because it's the rules, you
Right.
have to follow it. And and that's ultimately why the other two people left the teaching profession as well. One of them used this COVID thing as a good way to be able to change as well. So
Yeah,
I'm definitely hearing that a lot,
I bet.
and that's too bad. I think that maybe the school plans are still in the 60s or something, and they just haven't like updated them. There's so many things that they could be teaching today that they're not.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Well, then, why did you decide to go ahead and go into virtual teaching and not, because you had said that you had some other passions earlier that you could do, so, or some other choices. So why didn't you go into something else? Because obviously, like nursing would be a hot place to be right now, definitely very needed. So what made you decide to go into virtual teaching instead?
The the main reason for that is I didn't want to go back to school, and I also didn't want to acquire any student loans. I guess switching to something as in depth as nursing this late in the game for me would be too immersive. I don't think that I would have had the drive to do something like that. So I kind of just used what I had in my own toolkit, and it just kind of works out really well for being a virtual assistant for my clients.
Was it really hard for you to transition over, or was it pretty smooth?
No, it was great. It was smooth. I had support from my husband and my kids and my whole family, and everyone just kind of rode the wave. Once it got started, it was pretty neat to see things unfold and start happening.
That's good.
Yeah.
So tell me some of the things that you offer for clients.
I offer, I guess, an array of things. I specialize currently in podcast pitching and podcast research. So I write the copy for those emails and I do the outreach and I do the responses, and then set up those appointments or interview times for those clients. I also manage a social media account for one of my clients, actually 5 of his accounts. I'm getting pretty good at that. Um, just kind of being a support person in any capacity right now is kind of what people are looking for. Of course, there's a lot more specialized people, um, but for right now, that's where I'm at.
Or was it, what was the hardest part about you getting like your first couple of clients?
I think just building up to where, so my main goal was to replace my teaching salary as soon as I could. And so it was really lining up those clients to where I would have a manageable workload, but also making the money that I needed to replace my income with. So it was a lot of looking at my calendar, how many hours per week I had for this person, or one would be a monthly amount of hours. So I'd have to spread those out and make sure that I was getting what I needed to get to to be back where I was. So I think that was
So do
definitely the
you,
hardest part.
yeah, so do you think that you're going to want to teach others how to be a VA in time once you've got some of the steps in place? Or do you feel like you're always going to want to just be on the side that you're on and not be the teacher?
Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure if I see that for myself. I have such great mentors who are doing an amazing job with that. And so I just don't think I could reinvent that wheel, because they do such a good job. So I don't know if that's in my future. Maybe some sort of how to or tidbits, things that I could share might be something I'd
Maybe an
put out there.
ebook or
Yeah,
a course or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Since you're already a teacher, obviously, and you already know how that all works,
Hmm.
it probably wouldn't be so hard for you to be able to put that into play if that's something that you decide you want to do it down the
Yeah,
road.
I think in the future maybe.
Right. So tell me some of the future goals that you have for your business.
Well, let's see. So my future plans is just really to stay kind of right where I'm at right now. My client load is pretty good. I have room for other people, so it's it's just kind of still in the building phases. With the holidays coming up, it's a little bit more difficult, but just kind of, I guess, increasing what able to offer. So in my free time, taking training courses for, search engine optimization, or how to blog better, or how to write the best podcast pitch, things like that that I can work on and build my offerings to my clients.
You brought up something that makes me wonder. Okay, so let's say a possible client, they contact you and they want you to do something for you, and you don't have that skill yet. Are you in the mindset where you're okay with going and getting the training for that client? Go ahead and take them on as a client and get that training, or would you like to just stay right now for the type of things that you're doing?
I think it would just depend on the skill, but I'm definitely one of the people who would take the job and learn it on my own time to be able to offer it. Yeah, it's hard to
Okay.
turn away a client. So you kind of
Yes.
want to do what you can to satisfy that need that they have. And if it takes learning things on your own time, or sometimes, you can have the conversation that they might pay you for the training of
Mhm.
this skill. So that's
Yeah, I
always
would
something
think
as well.
I would think that if a client wanted you to take on a new skill, they would want to pay you for it. Otherwise, you would take on a skill and then just take another client on maybe
Right.
instead.
Yeah.
So I think I know I've got a VA that works with me, and I have paid for her as she has been trained. So
Yeah.
because she didn't know how to do the things that I wanted her to do.
hmm And if you like the person, you're more willing to invest that training money for them.
That's true. Okay, well, y'all, it's going to be a short one today, but I wanted to go ahead and give Kaitlyn an opportunity to let you know where she can be found, because I know you're going to be making your plans for 2021, and you need to have Kaitlyn in those plans. So you need to be able to contact her now so that she can put you in the book for the next year. So, Kaitlyn, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, first and foremost, I answer my email religiously. So my email is kaitlyn.lyders@gmail.com. But I also have a website for my business. It's kaitlynlyders-va.com. And I'm on all social media platforms. And I'm not entirely sure which one I'm on most, probably all of them. I think Instagram is at Kaitlyn Lyders or Kate Lyders, but you'll find my picture for sure.
Okay. And so you have the same picture on all of them?
Yeah, I try to keep it pretty uniform across the board.
That's something that I've really focused on doing this year, that before I never did at all. I actually did it different on purpose.
Oh,
So now, this year, I've learned a lot more about the social media. We pretty much had to, if people were going to find us,
Right.
we need to be more uniformed.
Yes.
And so just so everybody knows, also Kaitlyn's gonna give me her information. I will be posting that. You're gonna be able to find this video and use it on Facebook and on YouTube, but her information will be there. So Kaitlyn, is there anything else that we can talk about before we wrap up?
It might sound pretty cliche, but if you're thinking about that transition that you need in your life, just go for it. There's really no better time than right now to really be going after what makes you happy and brings you joy.
That's true. And if 2020 hasn't taught us anything, it's to be able to pivot, transition, have a mindset that's bendable. We can't be structured in just like one frame of thinking. And so, yeah, definitely we learned a lot of that this year.
Yeah.
So I want to remind everybody that I'm Sharon, and I'm with About My Sister's Biz, which is Christian Women Leaders. And I'd love for you to join us there on the group if you'd like. And I want to remind you as well to perform random acts of awesome. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.